Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of the SaintsPrime podcast with me, Ollie.
Harry.
Mikey.
Awesome. How's it going, guys? Good?
Actually. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
So, as always, should we go into questions first? Harry, have we
Yep,
got any?
sure. So we got Sean.B74 with best starting 11 ? After the questionable 4-1 loss, lots of question marks over our team. Who do you think should be in that best 11?
Well,
my
best formation conceded 4 goals, so I don't think that's the best decision. I did say on last week's episode, I want to see Yoshida and Bednarak together because they'll be solid. I want Bertrand natural left back and I want Valerie a natural right back. And when I saw the team sheet, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Here goes a good performance and we conceded 4. So, yeah, not great. Not great.
Yeah, I don't think we know what our best 11 is, and I don't think we do either, because we see such a back line that loads of people wanted. We go concede 4 against, yes, a good Chelsea team, but we didn't look solid at any point. So I don't think we know it until we know how strong Danso is. We know how strong Danso is in his natural position next to another centre back. We don't know, is Ward-Prowse still part of that strongest 11? There's been a lot of question marks over him as well. Yeah. So it's difficult to say really what our strongest 11 is. But what if we had to say, right, strongest 11? What changes would you have made to the team that started last week, or a formation or something similar? Right, first off, strongest goalkeeper. Then we'll go. You go formation. What formation do you think we're strongest in? I'll go position by position. Who do you think is the strongest?
What formation are we strongest in? So is this like what we'd like to see, or what we've seen so far?
Sean B74 said, "What is the best starting 11?" So we'll just go with the best starting 11 for us.
Shall we stick with the 4-3-3 that it seems like we've been playing?
Yeah.
Last couple of
games.
games.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
the goalkeeper then. Who starts in goal? If we're talking about best 11, not for the future, not for for now, just for now. Who is the best goalkeeper at the club?
So it's difficult for goalkeeper because McCarthy hasn't played too difficult opposition. He's played Portsmouth and Fulham. Like, he hasn't had to defend against United and Liverpool and like Chelsea and Tottenham. Like, I know Gunn's made quite a few mistakes, and I'd like to see McCarthy come in.
Yeah.
Maybe after the international break, but I do feel a bit for Gunn, but it was his fault for the first goal.
Yeah,
I blame him.
I think, I think McCarthy has a little bit more confidence than Gunn. I think Gunn can be a little bit quiet at times. Just like he's no doubt a good shot stopper, but I feel McCarthy sometimes can have a little bit more of an effect when in goal. That little bit more experience, that little bit more of a kind of power in the box, I guess. I don't know. I feel like he brings a little bit more, but I think Gunn should be our number one at the moment because I think he shows better quality. I just feel like McCarthy's just doing the simple things right at the moment. So I don't know. That's my thoughts.
So I'd want Gunn, but if we're talking about best right now, I might go ahead and say McCarthy. But like I said, I want Gunn, but best might be McCarthy. Right, wing backs, left backs, pretty obvious for me anyway. Bertrand's obviously the best left back for me personally. Would you say the same? Because we don't really have another one.
Vokins hasn't even really made it onto the. I don't know if he's injured because he wasn't playing for the under-23s midweek. So I think Vokins has picked up an injury. So I think it's literally just Bertrand that we have at left back now.
Yeah.
She want to play Cedric over there and play Danzo at right. Like,
however they do it.
Yeah.
Right then, fair enough. Left back Bertrand, right back Cedric or Valerie. We're out because those are the two strongest options.
I thought Valerie looked really shaky on the weekend. I think there's a lot of times where he didn't look comfortable, which was strange from the confidence that he showed against big teams the season before, and the fact that now it's gone to a point where you're playing a relatively young Chelsea side. I thought there was times in the game he looked like he was panicking and, didn't make smart decisions. So I think at the moment Cedric's our best choice right back.
I agree.
Harsh what people have said about Valerie and like Long and people who have just got back into the first team. It's very difficult to make an impact straight away, having not played. Like Valerie hasn't played since the start of the season. Long hasn't started this season. Like it's very difficult to get people, if they haven't played for a while, to start playing against a Chelsea side that are top on form. They've lost twice this season against Liverpool and Man United. So they're not losing the easy games that they're playing, and they've got so much confidence with them. It was a very tough. Valerie had a very tough afternoon trying to mark both Alonso and Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
Hudson-Odoi is one of the brightest sparks.
And I don't think our formation helps with that either, because I think will we playing the 4-2-2 again, or are we playing 4-3-3? Because for some reason I kept seeing Højbjerg coming left, so I don't know if he was playing left defensive midfielder. But the problem with a 4-2-2 is you've got either a massive space in midfield if they branch outwards, or if they come inside, that pocket between the two, especially if you're playing against wing backs or attacking wingers, you normally get 2v1s down the wing. And I think a lot of the pressure that Chelsea gave were through the use of wing backs and wingers, especially as they got such class around the side. I think that formation doesn't help with, especially defensively, getting behind the ball and solidifying those gaps. I feel like that formation isn't very effective in that way.
Well, you know how we were playing last season, where we had 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, and then on the attack we'd have 2 central midfielders, 2 attacking midfielders, and a striker.
Yeah.
Then when we were defending, Ward-Prowse would drop back to a 3, and then we'd have 2 up front. Looks like that's what we're trying to do. So in attack we're playing a 4-2-2-2, and in defence we're playing a 4-3-3, and Ward-Prowse drop backs and one of Long or Ings goes wide. That's how it looked. And Long went wide a lot of the time. He went left and Redmond went right or something like that. So I think that's how we're trying to play.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're quite. We're still learning. We're still learning the system. We're still learning the fluidity of it. We maybe need like a couple more players to actually get the system properly fluid. It will take probably the rest of the season to learn it.
And it relies on aggressive pressing as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you'll have 2 people who are either, I don't know the specifics, but they'll either press the passing lanes or they'll press the player. But it seems like we have 2 people to close down as quickly as possible. And I think the 4-3-3 defensively does do that. But the thing is, if you slip the press, you're in a lot of space, and you can normally, especially with attacking teams, they can once they're past the initial press, they're in a lot of space and they've got a lot of time as well. And that's the problem, especially
that Chelsea side. You give they could play through the press quite easily, and they had different routes to it. Abraham is such a versatile striker. They can go long, they can go in behind, they can go to feet. He's got
he's got it all.
Like everything. So it's very difficult to try and press when you know that they can just lump it long and they've still got like a 50% chance of getting it.
Yeah. I thought that was harsh.
Right back, who would you say?
I'd say Cedric right back. If we're talking right wing back, I'd probably go Valerie.
Yeah.
But because we're talking right back, I'd say Cedric. Right, midfield. How many central midfielders really we've picking in?
We said 4-3-3, didn't we?
4-3-3. So what? 2 holding and a more attacking one, or?
I think I know what I'd like to do. I'd like our 2 holding to be Højbjerg and Romeo, because I think although Højbjerg's been a little bit iffy now and again, I still think you need a little bit of a partnership in midfield. I think those 2 know each other well, so I think I'd go with that, to be fair.
Those are the 2 of the players I think that position never have really been in doubt. I know that Højbjerg's not been as good as last season, but Romeo I think's probably been better than he was last season. I think those are 2 of the players the fans haven't really had too much of a disagreement on. So I'd say that they're pretty stonewall first names on the team sheet at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. And then
I'd like to see the third one. For Wolves, I'd like to see what Armstrong could do. Position. I know Ward-Prowse gives us free kicks and corners and stuff like that. You can
Well, to be fair, recently I haven't really been seeing that. I think a couple of them have been quite.
He got a close free kick against Chelsea.
And Tottenham.
And against Tottenham as well, Lloris had to do a really good save. But I mean, corners, we've never been effective from corners.
No.
I can't remember us scoring a corner.
Yoshida was close, but apart from that, Yoshida should have done better rather than close, to be fair.
I don't think it's just down to Ward-Prowse's delivery.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
To the fact that we just don't spend time on set pieces.
We don't convert.
Well, there was clearly a set piece routine for the first corner of the game. I don't know if you saw it, but obviously Ward-Prowse had to drill it across. Everyone ran in. And there's meant to be one person on the edge of the box that was meant to smash it home, but everyone ran forward and just left the ball, and then the Chelsea player just picked it up and ran about 20 yards with the ball before he got tackled by, I think,
that Ward-Prowse delivery wasn't. I know it didn't hit anyone, but that wasn't actually too bad because it did look like it was on a plate for someone to steam in and
definitely.
Towards the goal. The thing is, with Ward-Prowse, he didn't get an assist last season, and he has scored once this season, and it was with the penalty spot. I know Manchester United struggle to score from penalties, but they should be pretty stonewall. You score 9 out of 10. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult for Prowse, but he's just not having the same impact as he was last season. I still think he's a key player for us, but sometimes you need to just take them out of the firing line and just give Armstrong that chance, because that's why we've got a squad of players. Because if someone's not performing, no one should be undroppable. Give Stuart Armstrong a chance. He's never disappointed when he's played. He's never set the world on fire, but he's never disappointed the fans. So I'd give him a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least you're looking to try something different rather than just going, right, this will work eventually. We just need to keep pushing it. No, just switch it up, fresh faces.
Well, I think even if we play that formation, you could try Ward-Prowse, because that's probably where he's had his most success, in that attacking midfield, in the centre, in the hole. That's where he got his goals, and that was probably where he's best on form. But if we were playing that position, I'd be happy with either Ward-Prowse or Armstrong there, to be fair. I think Ward-Prowse gets lost out wide, and I think he gets lost in a defensive position as well.
I think we lack a player who has the ability to calmly bring the ball out of midfield and run it forward.
Yeah.
I'd almost argue if we lined up the way that I wanted us to line up, we line up a 4-2-3-1 and play one Armstrong or Boufal at that attacking midfield role.
Yeah.
Drop deeper, but then they can actually bring the ball out the back, because we lack that. We lack the ability to do that. And I think when Djenepo gets fit, I think we should switch to that, and we play Redmond on the left, Djenepo right, and then play Booth out the centre.
Yeah, I think that would work, yeah. But if we're sticking with the 4-3-3 for the moment, because I've realised we've spent almost 10 minutes on one question.
It's fine.
We've not even talked about the centre-back partnership either.
Oh, no, we didn't, have we?
You skipped over. I said, have we done centre backs? And you went, oh no, we're just talking about.
Was that okay? My bad. Should we go to the centre backs then? Who would be your centre back pairing then?
Like, I'd want Danso, but
would you say that's our best?
Yeah, that's the thing. We haven't seen enough of him, so I can't say he would be our best, because I don't know. I don't know myself. So that's the bit where I'm struggling. I would probably stay with Bednarek. Between Vestergaard and Yoshida, I'm not too sure. I probably would still go Yoshida, because he does seem a bit more solid. Yes, we conceded 4, but we could reintroduce, if you're talking about bringing the ball out the back, or midfield, we could bring back Jack Stevens, give him a go. We've just conceded 4 against a Chelsea side and 2 against a very poor Tottenham one. Why not?
I still think Jack Stevens is a central defensive midfielder. I don't think he's a centre back. You look at him; he's so comfortable on the ball, but it's just the positioning and the communication at a centre back. Like, I feel like I don't think he's actually a centre back, but no, that's just an opinion. Anyway, so we've got a back 4 now. So are we saying Armstrong or Ward-Prowse in attacking midfield?
I'll go Ward-Prowse for the moment, because it's difficult to say
what we want and what's the best.
The other hasn't actually played.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go Ward-Prowse there. I think left mid should be Boufal. Because I think as we've got as a left midfielder, I don't know what else we've got in that across the top 3.
Should not say Gineppo?
Yeah, well,
He's
best
injured.
11, he's injured, so
Yeah,
I
if we're
can include
talking
him.
about best, just
what we're talking about. So Gineppo injured is better than Buffal.
don't get me started.
Well, I think I think I excluded Gineppo because I thought he was injured, so he wouldn't be in our best 11. So I think Buffal was probably the best there. Any other thoughts?
See, I like what Buffal brings to the table a lot of the time. He's got that bit of flair. He takes it past players. It's just that I'd keep playing him because although the end product does frustrate me, it's probably just due to a lack of playing time this season, but just overall in a Saints shirt that he's just not. As Redmond was a few seasons ago, he didn't quite hit the ground running, but then after a few seasons, he scored a few goals at the back end of last season. So although it does frustrate me at times, and I don't have the same opinion as a lot of fans on the left, I would probably say Buffal as well. Then.
Okay.
Buffal's the sort of player that you get frustrated with because you know what he can do, but you keep him on the pitch because you know that he can do something out of nothing. We don't have many players that can just produce something spectacular.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we do sort of need Buffal in there.
Yeah.
Because he might do 10 passes that don't come off, and then one of them will just find the striker and they'll score from it.
Yeah.
You need a Buffal in that team.
Yeah. Do you want to go right mid? I think it's pretty. I just think if you do Redmond on the right, I think that's pretty.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
easy choice.
First name on the team sheet sort of thing. Yeah. One of our most prolific goal scorers. Prolific goal scorers on the wing, or highest goal scorers rather than prolific, causes constant danger. Just explaining why. It's pretty obvious, but.
And then up front, would you go Ings, or do you reckon?
Now Long.
What a surprise! Yeah, I think. How many goals is Ings on now? I think he's on 3 or 4.
4 in all competitions.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so.
Are you sure? That's
5 competitions. 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that'd be so. Harry, do you want to run us through quickly what we had? Just because I can't really remember.
Right. So
I think you need Buffal in that squad because Redmond, when there's no other creative threat in that team, Redmond gets marked out the game, and then we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
If you have two either Redmond, Buffal, Gineppo, 2 of those 3, then you've got more of a chance of actually creating something.
Could you suggest that you could put Che Adams in Buffal's position because he does cause a constant threat, even though he hasn't scored? He does seem like a sort of battering ram sort of winger that's all right at holding up the ball, can pass it off, etc.
I wouldn't say they have the same effect though.
No, they don't have the same effects, but they could play the same sort of position.
I don't know.
I don't think the system would work because the way I've seen it, it's we press quickly, and if there's a break in the midfield, we use our pace out wide to create space, and then I don't think Che Adams would give you that same thing. I think Che Adams is good at holding up the ball, but if you need pace and outlets, which are going to be your wingers, I think you need pace there, and I think Buffal and Redmond have got that.
Well, I think it also proves the fact that on the game against Chelsea, Shane Long played a lot of the game on the left-hand side. He went up against Azpilicueta basically just to win headers. He wasn't really that effective out there. And we did lack a lot when Long was playing out wide because he's a striker. And we miss a player who can actually play wide.
It's a natural winger.
Yeah. So I think Che Adams may be effective out wide. I don't know if he played there for Birmingham when he was playing in the Championship, but I wouldn't play him there.
Right. He was more of a central striker when he played for Birmingham because he partnered Alexander Jukovic up front. That's how Birmingham scored most of their goals. But I'd imagine he would have, if there's 2 up front, he would have deployed slightly wide either side. So it's difficult to say because he wasn't playing as a 1, he was playing as a 2. So it's not easy to say whether he's directly a lone striker. But so McCarthy was in goal, Bertrand at left back, Cedric at right back, 2 centre backs, still Bednarek and Yoshida because we don't know how good Danso is / could be. Midfields of Højbjerg, Romeu and James or Prowse on the wings, Redmond on the right, Buffal on the left with Danny Ings. hottest informed strikers at the moment up front. Danny Ings up front. And that's that question done.
One question done.
Second question. It's quite a long one. He couldn't put it in he had to send me a DM for it because it was that long. So if I can find it, I will say it. Drum roll.
Okay.
Drum roll.
I thought you could have got this prepared, Tazard.
I thought I did. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know where it's gone. Right, we'll go for a different question first, and I will find that other one in a minute. Right, so we have a question from...
Don't need the suspense, Tazard.
Nawilba. Can we stop... Sorry, can we still make it into the top 10?
Top 10? Yes, definitely, I think. All it takes is a good run of form, and it completely changes the whole league. I think we can get top 10. At the moment, it looks bleak, but if we're just talking about can it happen, yes, of course, can it happen. Do I think it will happen? Is a different question, but yeah.
It's quite funny under Koeman. Like we would always start the season incredibly slowly. Like we wouldn't get off them. I think like one season it took us 5 or 6 games to actually get our first win of the year, and so we always started really slowly, and then we'd start gaining in form, we'd drop off in January and December, and drop around the Christmas period, and then we'd pick it up and we'd go on an amazing run of form at the end.
Yeah.
So like we've still got 30 games left of the season. Yeah. We could win all 30. So.
Technically, yes, you are correct. We could.
There is a percentage chance of us winning.
That would put us on 97 points, the same as Liverpool.
And we'd come third. So.
Yeah, we'd probably come second, to be fair, because City are not looking great at the moment. That's a different question overall. Let's go back to Southampton.
I was like, top 10 still possible if by February time, and we're still in roughly the same position as we are now.
Yeah.
We're probably not getting top 10.
Yeah, probably. Well,
unless the league's as tight as it has been for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, you never know. Never know. But so...
That sort of links to Dan Hurst's question, who isn't the question I was going to ask here, but Dan Hurst said that fans need to recognise that we're in more of a relegation battle than what we expected sort of at the start of the season. Do you agree with such a comment, that we're more in a relegation battle?
It's way too early.
Depends what you define a relegation battle. If it's to not be in the relegation zone at the moment, then yes, we're in a relegation battle.
It's the battle against
if you're talking about to not get relegated at the end of the season, then I don't think we are at the moment. I think, how many games are we in now? Is it 9,
or at least do you think we will be in a relegation battle?
That's a different question. Was that the question he was asking?
That's a complete...
No, because it won't be it's not a relegation. Nothing's a relegation battle now because you can't get relegated after 8 games.
No, but what he's saying is, it does this current, the way we're playing at the moment. Are we going to be doing this for the rest of the season and trying to get scrappy points and not be in the final? The last 3. I think that's what he's getting at. But are we in a relegation battle at the moment? I think it's too early to tell because the tactics haven't settled. We haven't got a full, it's not like there's a massive gap or issue because the team is so new and doing something so new that it's almost too early to tell. If we get halfway through the season, we're still doing the same tactics and it's still not paying off, then you kind of got to think this is looking and heading towards a relegation battle. But I think the relegation battle is not until the last quarter of this season. So, yeah, I think it's way too early to judge.
Do you think we will? Do you think we will be then? Do you think we will be in a relegation battle?
Do I think so? I've seen sparks of us playing really well, but then there's also clear errors playing and happening a lot of the time, which makes me nervous. I think we can only as good as guess at this point. I don't think we actually have you can't for definite see, but I don't think we will be. I think we'll have enough.
We've been known for really good predictions, so on this podcast. So.
But it is basically a blind prediction. But I think I've seen good enough quality in that side to hopefully not be in a relegation battle. However, it could be entirely possible.
I think it depends on Danny Ings staying fit. If Ings is fit, he's still scoring goals. We'll be fine. If Ings isn't fit, we'll have to rely on Shay Adams, who still hasn't scored. Shane Long, who we all know how prolific he is, and Obafemi, who's played about 10 games of Premier League football. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've also got to be somewhat realistic and think there's so many. I hate me for saying this, but there is a lot of big teams now in the league, and I think we said at the start of the season with our predictions that the top 8 are out of reach at the moment. So it depends if we're in a relegation battle or if we're kind of in a mid-table battle. But I don't think we'll be pushing up that high in the. It depends how far up you want to call the relegation battle, because I think, we could be scrapping right around the bottom, or we could be kind of floating around mid-table. But you could kind of say there was about 8 different teams in a relegation battle last year, because there was just no points going around. It was all, Man City and Liverpool just weren't dropping points. So, it depends all how it happens. It could be completely different this year. It's difficult to judge.
Yeah, see, the main problem is we're 8 games in at the moment, and our next 5: Wolves away, Leicester at home. Then you've got Manchester City away, back to back, but one of them's in the cup. Then you've got Everton at home, Arsenal away. So that brings us up to 13 fixtures, and by then that's 5 very tough fixtures, because by then either Everton would have sacked their manager or they would have gone on a better streak of form. So I wouldn't imagine they'll be as easy as they are to beat than they are now. So now that's 13 games, and if we're still on a similar amount of points, then we might be talking about relegation scrap already. Because
that's a lot of money.
Then again, after that we've got Watford at home, Norwich at home, Newcastle away, West Ham at home, Villa away. Like, those are winnable fixtures. So it's not. There's no point in panicking now or panicking after the next 5 games, because by that point we would have played the entire top 6. We would have got them out the way, and then we could have a fairly decent Christmas period. And by that point, if you have a decent Christmas period, you can then run that on to the rest of the league. Under Puel, we had 4 good games in January and we still stayed up. So, like, it's completely. I know you don't want to be, but it's completely dependent on what other teams do in the league. Depends on our position. Because at the moment, Palace are in 6th, and people thought Palace were going to get relegated this year. They have a massive drop-off in form. Watford are bottom of the league, and they were supposed to be challenging for Europe this year. So, no, but they were last year, weren't they? So, it's too early to judge. It's way too early to judge.
So, yeah, I'll say I'm playing devil's advocate here, but say if we did in the next 5 games only pick up 2 points, for example. So if we only did pick up 2 points, wherever they came from, because they are 5 difficult fixtures. Yeah. And then if you look at the next game, yes, the next 5 after that, like you said, are winnable fixtures. They're only winnable fixtures, really, if you're on or like you've got a good chance of winning if you're on good form. And say by then, if we've not won in quite a while, then that's the problem. Because it's easy enough to say they're winnable fixtures if we're in good form, but by now, if we've just lost back-to-back games and then we don't win in our next 5, making it 7 overall, quick mathematics from me, thanks very much. It's very difficult then to say, well, they are winnable fixtures.
Because I think alarm bells would be ringing. Sorry, Mikey, to cut you off, but I think alarm bells will only start ringing if we start losing or dropping points to teams that we should be beating, because I don't mind losing to top 6 teams and mid-table teams as long as you've got to be realistic, haven't you? You know, if they've got millions and competing in Europe, we've got to face facts. We're not that size anymore. We had a good couple of runs, but we're clearly not that high anymore. And if it's mid-table games that we drop a couple of points, that's okay. But if it's the lower teams and we're dropping points, I can't work out where our points are meant to come from, because this system is meant to be that we press and force mistakes, and but at home we don't create chances. We don't create many chances, and that might be the issue if we're going away from home and not picking up the points, and then coming home to games at St Mary's and not being able to create chances there, that's when we've got issues. Sorry, Mike, if you want to carry on.
I would argue that like we've shown that form's not important. Like we went on a run where we just couldn't win, and then we go and beat Arsenal 3-2. Like there are fixtures that just spring out of anywhere. Norwich beat Man City 3-2 and then just lost to Villa 5-1. So there is no consistency in this league. Newcastle lost 5-0 to Leicester and then beat United. Like that, we could go on and run a game where we lose the next 5 and then we could win the next 5. It's complete. Like there is no sense.
Yeah, but the idea is there that you're talking about major upsets, aren't you? Like
not major.
No, but Newcastle.
I can see some
part of the season. That's a surprising fixture, isn't it? And have we had a surprising result so far? That's
I could
do another Spurs or something and get a surprise upset, haven't we, to try and get our points back?
Yeah,
if we're not beating the lower teams, we've got to then prove that form isn't. What was your phrasing, Mikey?
Form isn't important.
Isn't important, and then we have to go and try and beat a team that we're massively underestimated.
I could see what Mikey means to an extent, but there's not. He hasn't. If you consider all the factors in the results which you says, there's slight holes because Arsenal's Arsenal. You know, they're that sort of team which they can't play away from home. Yes, they were unbeaten in 22, but there's they had a bit of a shaky back four. They're not very good away from home, and in their 22 unbeaten streak, they went from 4th to 4th, which was not very impressive. It added to the fact that under Koeman we did the same and we beat Arsenal 4-0. And then in the Leicester example, Newcastle were only 1-0 down. They had a man sent off that was their CDM, which in their style of play, playing a holding midfield of that quality is pivotal.
That quality.
Yeah, but in a team of Newcastle standards, a CDM, an important role in their team. If he's gone and they have to take off a striker, then a battering's there for the taking. And then Newcastle.
The thing is, it's not like that. So if you take off a striker and bring on a CDM, surely that hole is filled. So
yeah, but they can't score, and then they have
you've
to
got
go
no outlet then, haven't you? You can't say that just doing a substitution isn't going to help with you're going to have one extra man every time. You're going to be under more pressure. You're going to have less of an outlet.
Against Man United last year, earlier this season, we didn't collapse.
That is true, but it wasn't. Say if Romeo got sent off, do you think we still would have drawn that game?
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Okay, right. We can't prove anything. We're just speculating. We spent half an hour on 2 questions. We're going to be here for 4 hours if we're not careful.
Yeah.
So let's quick fire a couple.
Right. Jay Bouncing. Hi, my question was too long for your stories. My question for your podcast is this. Listen up, because it's a long one. Why is everyone blaming Ralph for he's been our best manager since Koeman and is still trying to clean up the mess from the past 3 managers? The board hasn't helped him, all with bringing in quality first-team coaches and getting quality players in because they can't offload all the dead wood they have. The fans need to show support. We're not a top 10 team at the moment, and it will take a fair amount of time for the transformation in the squads to happen. What needs to happen immediately is we need to sign quality fitness coaches since we keep getting soft tissue injuries. We also need a top quality first team coach, as our coaching panel are mainly ex-goalkeepers with no real first team coaching experience. Reaction to that long question there.
Was that a question? No, it seems more of a statement.
More of a statement. What's your reaction to his statement then?
Okay. I think it's true with I don't know about the soft tissue, Mikey. The football scientist might have to help me out with this. But what is the implications of these soft tissue damages?
Basically, doing stuff. The scientific.
Okay, there we go. That's straight out of the textbook.
Basically, doing too much, they'll pick up little niggles and stuff like that, and then it'll take 2-3 weeks for them to get back.
Right. So does that seem like ineffective training then, if they're picking up soft tissue but still lacking fitness?
I don't know if it's not really down to the fitness coaches to stop soft tissue injuries happening, because it could literally be like one of the lads has ran and kicked the ground and they could pick up a soft tissue injury from that. Like, it's not speaking from
right, yeah.
Actually, something like that.
I was going to say, who would do that? That is probably no one would do that.
No,
professional foot from this kick in the floor.
Anyway, carry on.
Professional. No, it's no, I wouldn't say it's down to the fitness coaches to make sure that soft.
It does raise a good point about
muscle tears and stuff like that. That'd be down to the fitness coaches.
Yeah. It does make a good point about the first team coaches, because we've now got the old goalkeeper coach, which I thought was a good idea for us to replenish the goalkeeping coaches, because we've been in a bit of a rut for 2 or 3 years, but then they promote him to a first team coach. So now we've got 2 coaches in the first team.
Well, we've got Calvin Davis in there as well.
Yeah, so exactly. He's a good morale boost and a friendly face, but is he really that great at an actual coach? And then Ralph's lost his right hand man. I don't know if he has. I think he has been replaced, but
he's been replaced,
but it's not the one that he came and has had success with. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think there is something underlying, whether it's the managers or whether it's the setup, that isn't actually working so far.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of his points. Like, we're a smaller version of Manchester United in the way that we're trying to rebuild what we have. We're trying to rebuild what we have from. It's not a new way of signing, because we've always signed players in the moulds that we have, but I mean, they're going from a transformation period, and they're going to pick up losses on the way in order to improve their future, and we're doing the same. But obviously, no one looks at us because we're a much smaller team.
But where are we rebuilding to? Without letting this question go on for too long, where is a realistic building point?
Well, I think we're just rebuilding into Ralph's tactic.
Yeah.
If you look, all the past 3 years we've been playing a defensive tactic, and you can't just go right, bam. Now we're going to play attacking football. It's going to be successful, because no matter how good the manager is, it's going to take time for that to happen. Look at Jurgen Klopp, for example. It took him 3, 4, 5 years until his team got completely transformed. He was able to sign all the players that he wanted. And then look at them now. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but we're going to do it into our own scale. We'll eventually, hopefully,
and I agree with that.
Top 10 team.
Top 10. So that's
top 10
because once we had our success with our few managers and good transfers, we were looking at trying to get into Europe, weren't we? I remember seeing somewhere that they wanted to get into Champions League football by 6 years or something like that, and obviously that fell right off the cliff because of all these different things we don't have time for. But do you reckon top 10 they're trying to build? How long do you reckon they're trying to get to top 10? As long as it takes.
I don't know if it's specifically top 10, but I think there'll be a 5-year plan. Whether Ralph must have been given promises when he came in. He would have been given he would have been with the board and said, this is my plan. What's your plan? Because we've got to make a decision together if I'm going to come. And 5 years. I imagine it's over a 5-year plan, and they'll be needing significant process each year for him to stay, because otherwise he will leave. Like Rafa Benitez did at Newcastle, because they just didn't reach his ambitions.
But possibly the other way around, though. Like there must be some leeway with the rebuilding, but they must have to see some short-term progress as well, because do you want to do it like Rafa Benitez? They got relegated to come back up again and be stronger, not obviously on purpose, but it happened and they stuck with the manager. Do you reckon the board would be happy to stick? Are they confident enough in Ralph's philosophy to even go down, trigger release clauses and things like that, and then come back up again? Like, how confident in Ralph are they?
I think it's
because I'm not on the board. I at the moment I don't see a better manager out there than Ralph.
Yeah, we could acquire.
Yeah, on a fast stretch, I mean, we won't pay his wages, but on a fast stretch, we might be able to get a Mourinho. Like that.
Mourinho?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You are?
What do you mean?
No.
No. Right, okay.
Stop saying what and actually listen to what I want to say. Okay?
Oh my God.
Oh, that's the credibility gone, and I thought we'd be okay because we don't have Jamie this week.
Mourinho, like he'd come to us.
Mourinho's had like a really crap time in the game so far. Like he's fallen so far, he's gone into punditry. So he's had a failure at United, and he wants a job in England. And I would say that Southampton is a promising club for him to come to. I'm not saying that I want Mourinho. I'm not saying that I want Ralph out, but I'm just saying that could be an option. You know, like.
Mourinho will walk into any Champions League team that are desperate for a trophy, because that's what he does. He's the Champions League version of Sam Allardyce, and he'll go there, win them 2 trophies, and destroy that club and walk away. But that's what he does, and people know that's what he does. Would he come to try and do a half relegation battle rebuild? No, he's not. He's not going to do that.
With Chelsea a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that's different. They've got a billionaire owner, and he knew he could buy money. Like, buy players with all the money he needs. You know, with Saints, you've got a chairman that doesn't put any money in. We only get money from. You think about that. In the transfer window, we could only make signings after we lost.
I'll take it back. It's fine. It's all right. You can just leave it there.
I can't even remember what I was going to say after that.
Move on to the next question, Harry. We're already.
I was going to say something. Anything else, Mikey? Jack Stevens.
I don't want. Yeah, Jack Stevens becomes player manager, and Shane Long becomes England's best option.
Oh my God! If you had a headed.
I can't even remember what I was going to say.
Right,
that's flabbergasted. Also, actually, for that question, as much as I want us to get new coaches, it's not Football Manager. We can't just sign them left, right, and centre to try and improve our results.
Cool. Next question.
Right. Next question is: we've already said our best defence. So thanks, Josh Allen, for that, but we've already covered that.
Yeah.
Didn't McCarthy and Gunn get a load more stick for doing less? Didn't McCarthy and Gunn get a loads more stick for doing less mistakes than Gunn? So I imagine what you're saying is McCarthy has done less mistakes than Gunn, yet he got more stick. Do you think that's a fair point?
No.
Typical Saints fans. It's just they're all over the place. They'll get stick for. I remember when Boric was getting stick and he threw water bottles at the Saints fans. Like, it happens with every keeper, but as soon as they'll go, people will remember. God, do you remember the McCarthy save against Portsmouth? But fans are just fickle. You've just got to get on, have a good couple of games, and we're actually in the fortunate position that we've got 2 good keepers there. I mean, you can say they make mistakes, but at the end of the day, Gunn does make saves. He made saves against Chelsea. Yeah, he made 1 mistake, but he saved us twice. And you've just got to be positive to look at that and think you've got a young English keeper. You've got 2 English keepers there. One's younger. McCarthy's experienced. Just stick with them. And you just there will be fans that will give stick. And, you know, it's just a part of the modern game now.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. You know, it's when McCarthy wasn't playing, people were really wanting Gunn to play, and then Gunn's played he's played 8 games in the league. 3 of them, 4 he's played really well. Makes a couple of mistakes in games that we got battered in anyway. And now people are saying,
the grass
McCarthy should play. So it's like, make a decision who you want us to play.
It happens, you know, they just want to see the other thing. They always think the grass is going to be greener, but at the end of the day, it just disrupts the team. And just go with Ralph watches them day in, day out. I'm sure he's going to make a more informed decision than Steve down the pub because Gunn got in a mess with Bednarak. He's going to know who's best, and you know he's going to make the decision from there, not just for what you see on match days. There's 6 other days of the week, you know.
So that was also Josh Allen with the question as well.
Yep.
Last question, Dan Hurst at 96. Bertrand needs to be dropped. He gives nothing to the team.
For who?
What are your
Yeah,
that's
who?
what I was
Who are we going to put there?
Who do we take him out for? Sell your second choice left back, and the other left back is out injured and is actually a left winger, and the next left back is out injured playing for the under-23.
Well, it makes you wonder that Ralph was happier to put Højbjerg at left back than Bertrand, because you can clearly see Bertrand's in about second gear at most. Like, he's kind of there's no blistering runs. I wasn't. I didn't think he had a great performance at all. I think he was just going through the motions, and but he's the only natural left back we've got, so that's the only option we've got. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just say, just to try and get a few options across. Say if Bertrand wasn't in the squad at all, who would we put there? We'd put, say, Højbjerg, right? Who plays CDM next to Romelu then, or defensive midfielder next to Romelu? Ward-Prowse. And if you say Ward-Prowse, then yeah, that's a viable option. But then who do you put in Ward-Prowse's position? And then what? So would you do that instead? Then would you say that Højbjerg, we could play Højbjerg there?
I would play Højbjerg at left back because we lose something when Højbjerg's not in the midfield.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. If we're going to make sacrifices, then you're going to lose in different places, right? If we put Dancer,
said that you're going to play Højbjerg at left back.
Pardon?
You're the one who said you play Højbjerg at left back.
No, that's what I mean, because we've played Højbjerg at left back. So like I said, I don't agree with him. I'm just going through the options. It's like he says. What do you mean why? Because it answers the question.
No, I never said why.
What did you say?
I didn't say why. I said I didn't like it.
Okay.
All right, then if you put Dancer at left back.
I don't get listened to enough. This is why I make outrageous points like getting.
So we all question them.
People actually listen to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Then you put Dancer at left back, and then what do we gain from that? Someone that isn't a natural left back and that's been sent off and substituted when he's been playing in an unnatural position. So we've not really got another option than Bertrand, to be honest. That's my sort of.
You could play Vokins in there, but I've seen him play once in an under-23s game against Newcastle.
Yeah.
He's all right.
That's all the questions, unless there's anything to add from any of those points. Any other outrageous statements before we move on?
No, I think we're all good.
Shane Long's the best striker.
Okay, cool.
Right, so moving on to the Chelsea game. We've covered quite a lot of it already, so there's not a lot to go through. But, we talked about the back four last week. You said you were more than happy for the back four that we did choose to start. Are you looking at it differently now?
Me or Mikey? Ollie. Right, okay.
Ollie, yeah.
Yes, a little bit. There's clear kind of shakiness there, to be fair. I don't know quite what the issue is, but on paper those are the two that I thought would be best for the game, and it didn't go through. I think it was the right decision to put four at the back, not five, but again, just didn't work out. So yeah, I was just thinking, do you guys have any more thoughts on that? Because we could go like we did last time and kind of go through the game bit by bit. If you're up for that.
Yeah, we'll go.
Any overall
thoughts? Like you said, we'll go through the starting 11 and we sort of.
Okay.
So, what was your reaction to the starting 11 when you saw it? Were you happy with what you saw? I know Mikey was more than.
I was incredibly excited. I was so excited because it was sort of like the lineup that I wanted, knowing the players that were out and injured and stuff like that. It was a lineup that I thought would be the best to get out of everyone. And it turned out that after we conceded the first one, we couldn't create anything.
Yeah.
Apart from the goal. I can't really remember us creating a chance apart from a free kick from Ward-Prowse and Redmond's shot from the first minute.
Yeah, I can't either, to be fair.
It seemed very difficult. And it seemed like we had one tactic that was play the ball around the back until it gets a bit too panicky, and then we just lump the ball where Shane Long was, and we hoped that he could win the header and we would get on the knockdown. It seemed so one-dimensional. We didn't have another way through. We didn't have a creative spark because Redmond was marked out the game completely. I don't think I even remember him doing anything apart from the shot. I think that was it.
Yeah. Like in the first minute, I was so excited because we closed them. We flew out the blocks, closed them down, and just had a shot just over the wall. I was like, "Do you know what? This is going to be a tightly contested game." Then they scored not once but twice, not close to each other, but in the first half. And from there, although we did score, we didn't create really anything apart from that. And then they made it 3-1. Did they score before half time to make it 3-1? Yeah, they did, to make it 3-1 with Kante's deflected shot. And from there, we just looked like a defeated side. And I was confused, to be fair, because we had this whole of the second half to, I thought Ralph would GM up for the second half. We go out firing out the blocks once again, but there was no sort of fight, no desire. It looked like we just didn't want to concede 6, so we made sure we only conceded 4.
Yeah.
Well, you think so? First goal. So I thought before we conceded the first goal, we did look on top, but that's
we had a couple of chances, got a couple of early corners, didn't we?
It's a phrase that I've heard people say a lot for the last 3 years that I've been going. So we looked alright, and then it's one lumped ball over the top that Gunn doesn't come out and clear. He comes out and
tries to wait for it to come into his box to pick it up, I think.
It seems like he forgot that he was allowed out of his 18-yard box. He just stood on the line and waited it to come for him. And him and Yoshida, we've seen it against Bournemouth. Him and Yoshida got in a little bit of a mix-up. Tammy Abraham somehow managed to clip the ball over Gunn and which is it's quite a good finish. Yoshida was unlucky getting back on the line. The ball was over the line, and that was 1-0. And from that point, you just didn't really have any confidence going forward that we were going to get back in the game. And the problem is when you play a high pressing system, you can't. If you lose, like we try to be solid, and then we go 1-0 down. And when you're playing the pressing system, it's so easy to get gaps because you've got so many more players pressing. There's so many more spaces opening up. And then the second goal was down to our doing.
Yeah, because Bednarek headed it straight, tried to head it to Romeu, got intercepted. Jorginho played it through to Mount, who beat Gunn at his near post.
In all fairness, the first 3 goals that we conceded, first one was an individual error from Gunn, because it was just one lumped ball over the top. I think Ward-Prowse lost it, didn't he? And then it was just one lumped ball over the top.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to counter, and it was just one lumped ball over the top. Second one was an individual error from Bednarek, because he did it directly to the Chelsea player's feet instead of Romeu. Instead of trying to punt it out and actually get it out, we tried to play out the back again, and it didn't work. Third goal was completely unlucky. Yeah, Valerie may have been caught slightly up at the pitch or inside, something like that. But there's always a time to recover, and we had time to recover, and Kante's shot could have deflected any of the 3 that were trying to block it. And Gunn looked like he had it covered before it deflected, and it was 3. And at that point, it was just, that third goal killed it. Because after we scored, we looked like we could get back into it.
Yeah, I wrote down here, because we're kind of going through it, that second Ings chance just before half-time, I don't know if you remember it, where he was coming across and dinked the keeper, and the keeper just put a hand up and stopped it.
No, so Jorginho cleared off the line, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, no, he did, sorry, he did. I just think if that went in, that would have completely changed it going into half-time. But, yeah, after half-time, we had about 10 minutes of kind of quiet football, because in the second half, it takes a while to kind of keep going again. But between about 55 and 75, I wrote down that some of the football I saw was really, really weak. Players just clearly panicking and not doing the simple things. I think Gunn was being closed down, put it on his left foot, which he was clearly not comfortable with. Almost got the pass blocked and just put it straight out for a throw in. There was balls just being, turning and clearing it over their heads and things like that without even looking. I just thought it was. I don't know what went wrong. It's like we just combust and went wrong.
I think the best piece of play to sum up those 20 minutes in the second half. Was we got a free kick for about 40 yards out over on the left-hand side.
Oh, no.
Ward-Prowse lined up to take this. Ward-Prowse runs over the ball. Everyone's moving into the box, and Bertrand stops. He runs, jutters, and stops, and then Ward-Prowse runs back round
and does it again.
Forget that we did that. Just forget that we didn't do that, okay, Chelsea? Just forget that, and then...
it's just embarrassing. That 20 minutes was probably some of the worst football I've seen down at St Mary's.
It got easily cleared as well, that free kick, I swear.
Yeah.
They'd already seen the game plan. The idea is that they were meant to run, and Ward-Prowse was going over it. But just absolutely ridiculous.
And then the fourth goal, Chelsea just sort of walked it in. It was very similar to the Chelsea game where we lost 3-0 a couple of years ago, and the third Chelsea goal where they just played it round us and basically walked the ball in. I think.
Well,
as well.
And one thing I thought was really disappointing as well was the fact that our first substitution didn't come until the 73rd minute.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it might be that Hasenhüttl has its favourites, but yeah, taking 73 minutes when it was clearly not working from about. I think you shouldn't have given it more than 15 minutes into the second half. See what was going on there. If it's not going right, change it. But it was about 15 minutes too late. That substitution should be done 60, 65 minutes because it was not working. The football was clearly not working. And yeah,
I would prefer to see Boufal come on for Redmond instead of Obafemi on for Long, because I know Long wasn't playing well, but he at least gave us something.
Give us an outlet. Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Like, at least you get a little bit of an outlet, a little bit, you get that hard work up the top. But I think Ings looked like it's flagging as well.
Yeah, Redmond, who had done nothing for the entire game, like he stayed on until like probably the 83rd minute when Boufal came.
Yeah, that's what I think. Ralph does have his favourites, and I think Højbjerg was having a really poor game as well. But because he's the captain, I think you need to have a strong enough will to be taken off. Like I know he is the captain, but if it's not working, it's not working. Take him off and try and do something different.
And also, we didn't change formation from that point onwards as well.
No, we did
stick to the same thing, and it kept being a recurring theme where we just couldn't create anything because the formation wasn't working against them. We had to change the formation. But the single positive that we can take from the day, Valerie's run was very good.
Good run.
Took it past 6 of them. And
very nice.
Ings managed to get on to a cutback, which
that was good.
We haven't really done before.
Yeah. Have I got anything else? I said we looked a bit tired as well. I don't know whether it's we pressed too early and game management wasn't right, but I think we looked tired. Last 20 minutes, I think the players looked like they're flagging, especially Valerie. I know it was the first time he'd come back and played a full game, but really you would hope a professional footballer would not look that tired of coming on and just letting, I think was it Hudson-Odoi or maybe someone like that round playing left mid, just run straight past him, not getting back into full position. And I think that tiredness just showed in the last goal because they just finished it off. Was it 90th minute? Just killed the game.
A lot of these players haven't played first team football for. Højbjerg never played first team football until Ralph came in. Ward-Prowse hardly played until Ralph came in. Romeu didn't really play under Hughes until Ralph came in. So a lot of these players, you can see they're staples of the side, and they get a lot of rests. So these players have basically been playing consistent football since December. And then they've had a hard pre-season and they're learning a new system and they're doing Sunday trainings, they're doing double sessions, so these players will get tired, and that's why you need a bigger squad to play a pressing game, because you need these players to rotate and to keep fit, so that's why you're getting the small muscle tissue injuries, and the reason why players are being out for 2 to 3 weeks is because of the fact that they're being asked to do a lot. And you need a bigger squad. And that's why you need Armstrong to start a couple of games. And you need the strikers to rotate. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 or 4 games Ings picks up an injury. And you're out for a couple of months.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Or...
So he has it with Jurgen Klopp when he took over. He put high intensity training on, and a lot of his players were. And that's probably what not ruins Daniel Sturridge's career, but really hurt him. Because he was training at very high intensities when his hamstrings weren't there. And that's just what's going to happen with our squad. Hopefully, like I said earlier, we're not going to develop like Liverpool will, probably. Never say never, but we probably won't develop the way Liverpool will. But it's just what's going to happen. We'll see who can cope and who can't.
Yeah, and you got to say at the end of the day, if you've got a player that can't cope in those situations, although they might have a temporary good spell, they won't last in that team. Yeah, you got to hope that you can have a player can get a good run. So say Danny Ings, and if he doesn't work in the pressing style, which I hope he does, because he obviously does show that aspect of pressing and hard working for the team. But at the end of the day, if his injury is going to hold him back that much, you'd kind of like to think if he's not going to work, we're not just going to hold him onto him for no reason, and that we'll try and find players that can fit that system.
Yeah.
So my only not massive like at the end of the game, I wasn't angry. I was just more disappointed at the way we play. Well, not the way we play, but just like you said, the substitutions were a bit late. We're 3-1 down, and he went for like rather than trying to go at them. You know, we didn't really have a chance in the second half that I can really say, that chance will be a match of the day later. We're going to have another look at that, because we didn't have a clear-cut chance. That James Ward-Prowse free kick, I didn't think at any point after he struck it that it was going to go in. Not being harsh, there wasn't enough power. There wasn't
close
near the corner. Yeah, it wasn't prime James Ward-Prowse territory. And the substitutions just weren't correct either. Like when we put Obafemi on, I was thinking, he's against two young, reasonably good, quick centre backs. This isn't the game to put him on as a substitute for. Yeah. That's not his area. He needs to come on against probably Wolves. Wolves would probably be a better one, maybe. I know they got Wilfred Bolly. We're going on to next week, and we won't do this podcast. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They weren't the right people to try and bring on against, because he wasn't going to have an impact, and he didn't have an impact. And it's frustrating, because we could have at least gone for a bit more than we did, and sit watching for the pub. It must be even worse with Mikey that was sat watching in the stadium.
Ollie
I was there as well.
Yeah. You never. I never felt that we'd get back in the game, and I'm one of those happy clappers, as they call on Twitter. They always hope and always think we're going to win every single game. So that's what disappointed me. But I also had a cold at the same time, so that might be why.
What also was quite apparent is in that second half, the players weren't playing well, but the fans weren't singing. Like, I couldn't.
St Mary's for it.
I understand that the majority of St Mary's don't sing. Down my end, no one sings. But at least you hear somewhat in the northern end, and then there's some sort of round of when the Saints there is something, there is some sort of atmosphere. But even the northern was silent. Like I didn't really hear the northern at all.
Well, I think it was
Chelsea fans were even silent in that second half.
Well, they were doing it just to take the mick out of us. But the Chelsea fans were really loud, and I was looking around, and there was people trying to get the chants going, and there's normally like a couple loud people that try and get them going, and everyone picks them up. But it got to the point where everyone was just so fed up of what they were seeing that you just don't have that energy. You don't have that you just don't have that energy or passion for that momentary feeling of almost hopelessness that that it's just you're watching something that's so dire, and you wish you could spur on and get them going again, but you need, even if it's a corner or something, it picks up that atmosphere that little bit more. But we're just making mistake after mistake, giving away possession. You need a little bit of something just to get you going again, and it just seemed like nothing was there, and the fans had almost was showing how tired they were of seeing that football, and and people getting frustrated that subs weren't coming on, and it just petered out and became horribly ghostly quiet.
Chelsea never got off of second gear either. That's the thing. They never looked like they were troubled by what we gave them. They never had to pick it up. They seemingly strolled to success if they wanted to.
Unproven centre backs as well. You got Tomori and Zuma, who at their times looked a little bit shaky playing out the back, but we didn't test them.
There was one incident in the game where Zuma and Tomori literally ran into each other. To Kepa, we didn't have anyone on him. They ran into each other. The ball was free, and it just bounced through to Kepa, and he picked the ball up.
Yep.
And that I found that funny. I laughed at. You had to find some humour in that game.
If you don't laugh, you cry.
I would say it's harsh. Like, second half was dire, but it's harsh to say that the entire performance wasn't great, because first 20 minutes until they scored, we looked alright. When we scored, and then the next 10 minutes until they scored again, we looked alright, and we looked like we could hurt them, and we did test them, but it was just that second half, and there was pretty much nothing. That's what made it. That's what made it the performance that we remember instead of the performance which could have been.
Anything else? Or
not actually. I think we've covered that game pretty well. I think we've done quite a bit.
Quite a solemn note to finish it on, but
highlights of it.
So we're heading into an international break, but next week we'll have a look at the Wolves game, won't we? we can we'll see what there's. I'll send your questions in again. Harry, how can they get in touch?
SaintsPrime on Instagram. Depending on what day we do it, I'll do it the day before, or I might just do it on a Monday. I'll put it up at some point. You can put your questions in. As you can tell by today's podcast, as long as they're PG, we will answer them. So send them in, and you'll hear your name read out.
Yeah, of course.
As long as I remember to say your name.
And I was mentioning it to the guys. We're actually trying to work out a way to try and get some more features and content to you guys, maybe for a little bit extra or something like that. We're trying to work a way to do that, but we've already got a podcast recorded for that. We've got some outtakes to us attempting to.
I want to hear those actually. Like I've not heard.
Yeah, I can. But yeah, we're going to try and make that available.
Do I have to pay?
And possibly we do pre-record these a little bit earlier. So if you do want earlier access to them as well, we'll try and find a solution for that.
That's a shout, actually.
Is possibly just extra content for you guys, and if you do want that, then do let us know, and we'll try and work a way of doing something for that. So yeah, we'll let you know in due course how that's going. Well, yeah, we're up that other then. It's been me, Ollie.
Harry.
Mikey.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.